Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of The Amazing Race Season 32, Episode number 3. We are heading to Manaus. We are going to the rainforest. This was my favorite leg of the season. There was so much dumpster fire potential here from start to finish.
Oh man, there was finally getting some strategy, people getting really cutthroat in this. Mega alliances now come together.
Okay.
Over one little tiny thing. It's crazy how quickly that turns.
I love everything about this leg other than the fact that we are venturing down a dark Big Brother 22 sort of road here that I do not want to go down with the Amazing Race.
No, I couldn't believe it was happening. So hopefully maybe by episode 4 it'll be over.
Can we U-turn the alliance and just get this alliance? I like a lot of the teams in the alliance. That's why I'm frustrated by it.
Yeah, I do too. It's filled with a lot of people I'm rooting for.
All right, well, before we get into all this stuff, because we got a lot of good stuff to discuss here, be sure to subscribe because we're doing Amazing Race videos after every episode. Most of them are going to be right after. It's a really fun season so far, so we hope you stick around. Hit that notification bell too, so you don't miss any other updates.
Yeah.
And so, as we get into this craziness of a leg, the biggest thing that is just sort of on my mind right now is, why were Will and James so cutthroat against Leo and Alana?
They were so mad at them for helping with that, oh, you gotta just hook up the horns thing from last week. That one little tiny thing, which is not, yeah, it helps them and it did come back around to save them, but just the same, it didn't actually have to turn into anything. But Will and James, man, they were really not having that, where it was just like, oh, you guys are going to have this 2-team alliance? We're going to have a 5-team alliance.
Will and James clearly win this round because they won the leg. They were great through a lot of the leg.
Yeah, they were great.
They deserve a ton of credit for that. This is just my thinking, though, on U-turns in general, is I would, we like to do this. If Matt and Jess were on the race, I would do my best to say, I wouldn't U-turn anybody unless I really was sure I was going to get that person out of the game, or I just felt like they had the world's biggest vendetta against me.
Yeah, that's the thing is, even though Leo and Alana did help the other team, it didn't hurt Will and James. And Will and James were doing very well. So because it wasn't something that really hurt them really badly or anything like that. And then even Leo and Alana were like, we came in 7th last time. Well, how are we a threat? It is kind of are they really a threat? Was it really that big of a thing? They didn't do something against you guys. They just helped this other team.
The other part of it I don't really get fully here is that Will and James are there. They see that it's a double U-turn, so they put one of them up. But don't you have to assume that, unless Leo and Alana are in last place, they have the ability to then put someone else up who's foreseeably behind them. So they're probably not going to be eliminated in this scenario.
Yeah.
It's a questionable decision with just from that very standpoint. We saw eventually Kaylin and Haley, they paid that favor back.
Yeah, which is, it all came in really handy, and not for Frank and Jerry, but I mean, they were kind of like, oh, you helped us, we're going to help you. I see that this is happening on this board. And it was also very telling to everybody else in the race who came up to the board and was like, ooh, okay, so this is happening here. I mean, I love that they do that and they leave it all up for everyone to see.
I love the drama. I love the implications of it are great.
Yeah.
I just wish that, I think Kayla and Haley had that sort of line about, we're not really good at building things. That's why they did the detour that they did. But I wish they had done the other detour, because then they would have known that a lot of those alliance teams were behind them. They could have U-turned one of the, the big threats of the season. Instead, you're U-turning Jerry and Frank, who almost ended up spending the entirety of the leg in Manaus getting their bag.
Yeah, and I do understand why they picked Frank and Jerry, because it was then 100%. They were never gonna make it to the end. And like you said earlier, if you're gonna take a shot, you really have to make sure that you're gonna hit that shot. So for them, it was this will 100% save Leo and Alana. They will stay in the game. They can make up the time in the next leg. I thought it was a really good move on their part. I wasn't sure about why Will and James decided to do it, but I'm going to give them a 10 out of 10 for entertainment and doing that, because they made this season was already fun, but they made it like really exciting, like watching everybody come up to the board and be like, oh, look at this. What did they do to them?
Yeah, it's like, as much as I hate like the dominant alliance, I like that there's people who are playing and playing hard. I don't need to see nice, amazing race where everyone is just like, let's compete and be friends and huddle in a circle. Like, it is better to have some drama. And even though I think Leo and Alana said they're not going to confront Will and James about it, you got to imagine like getting those two like at an airport or something, the tension is going to be great.
Yeah, and Leo and Alana don't need to, and they still have their U-turn, so they can still deal with them down the road when they have a chance to take a shot, and there's nothing really that they can do about it at this point. That's why it's 10 out of 10 entertaining for me, but I don't know how this is going to help them out later on.
Yeah, it's true. It's like they have that. They still have the ability to U-turn. They also still have that yield, which apparently the Amazing Race editors did not even care to remind us that was still in play.
No.
And they didn't even show where they could potentially use it. At least I didn't think so.
No.
In this leg, but. Let's do a quick shout out here to the producers and like the locations. We're not having any legs so far where you're just like camping out in one country. We're like going to new places every week, and you don't usually like Manaus is like right in the middle of the rainforest. You don't usually see places like this on this show. I was really just as a geography nerd, I was just like, all right, I'm all in on this.
And for everybody out there that hasn't been anywhere or traveled in so long because of everything that's going on, I really appreciate that they really have gone to places where it like feels like we're somewhere else with everybody else.
Let's rewind a little bit here, because we got to get into the what would we do portion of this conversation. So they get to Manaus, and we're seeing them at this market where they have to collect.
Yes! They also, one of the things they got to collect is something that my family uses all the time, which is cassava root. I like to cut it up and make fries out of it. It is an amazing, amazing vegetable.
How do you think we would do collecting all these random things in the market? Because I feel like we would do okay. I think we could get it done. It's like, you know a little bit of French, I know a little bit of Spanish. Portuguese isn't identical, but there's some similarities there.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we would do okay picking stuff up. I think we would have done okay bringing our bag with us. I was really shocked by the amount of people that left their bag behind. I didn't understand why that was happening. Like, what did they think they were collecting all this stuff for? Like, clearly you're collecting ingredients for something. You've got flour, you have cassava root, you have juice. Like, there are things that are all coming together to make a meal, and then they're just leaving that bag there. I didn't understand that. So many people left the bag.
There is a real case of not read your clue-itis going on this season. I was so, because especially after Will and James just went through what they went through, and, you know, I understand not everybody was there to see it, but it's still just, you guys know that attention to detail is so important. And this is where I do think that little alliance tripped some people up, because I think they were all just running through this like a bull in a china shop, knocking things all over the place, that they weren't really thinking, oh, I should actually pay attention to the bag part of this and also pay attention to every single thing I'm getting to make sure that it was right.
Yeah, it was just, and that was the other thing that was strange about it, was like, okay, you're going to take everything out of your bag, show it to them, and then not even put it back in the bag. You're just going to leave everything all over the beach. Like, who's cleaning this up? You're in another country. It's like, oh, I finished it. I'll just leave it strewn out all over the sand, all over the table. Like, is the clue guy supposed to pick this up for you?
Phil, after he's done at the pit stop, he's going to go back to Manaus. He's going to sit there. He's going to like find a way to... I like to think that Phil does everything that we don't see on camera. Let me live in my illusion for a little while here. Okay, we also have the blow dart gun.
That was awesome. That was so awesome. I've never seen anything like that. That was really awesome.
See, I feel like this would be one of those things where you would just want to do it so badly that I would just be like, here, it's all yours, have fun.
Yeah, well, when they first brought it out, and I was like, oh, okay, like, is this something they get to do? And then I was like, oh, I would totally do this. If this is an opportunity for me to do this, I'll do this.
Yeah, like, I feel like I would not be good with the blow dart gun. Let's make this very clear. I'm not good at anything that involves accuracy and or balance. It would be a total for me.
Yeah.
Okay, now, though, we have the detour. Are we going to build a fort?
No!
Okay.
Listen, I have no stamina. I have zero strength. I don't exercise. That's not a surprise to anybody on this channel. There is no way. Like, I would be carrying those leaves over there, and then that would be it. I wouldn't be able to build anything, and I can't build anything anyways. When I was living by myself, I had to staple a shower curtain to the ceiling because I couldn't figure out how to make curtains actually work in the apartment. So there is no way that I'm gonna actually be able to make this frame. No way.
I can't laugh that much because I would not be any better. We would be the total. We talk about clown cars a lot with with Big Brother. We would be Clown Car City doing this. We would still be there doing this right now.
Yeah, and because I'm familiar with some of the ingredients, as soon as I was seeing that cassava root, I would have felt better. Even though I'm not the greatest cook, I would have felt a little better doing that.
Yeah, I think between the two of us, we have enough cooking skill that we could muster up this, that we could do a pretty good job. Nobody really seemed to have any problem with the cooking.
No, but it was really cute watching Hung try to, like, hug the tribe leader at the end of it.
Like,
I was like, I'll hug you. You're so cute. I love her.
Hung and Chi are so adorable. And, like, they still did really, really well this leg.
I was so happy. I love them. I love them. They're just so endearing.
That was the weirdest thing about this leg, is that everyone made so many mistakes that it was, like, really hard to figure out who was going to do well, because it was just like, who's going to screw up the least? It was like, oh, here's Gary and D'Angelo. They're doing well. Oh, now they have to wander all the way back through the market again. And I kind of feel like if they hadn't been given help, they might still be there building that palm frond.
Yeah, they might be.
Like, they were, and then we had Michelle and Victoria had a real not great leg here from start to finish.
Yeah, they really got lost.
Like, there's an interesting decision by Gary and D'Angelo here, because I think it was smart for them to not say anything to them when they were leaving.
Yep.
But then they decide to sort of just yell it at them, like, halfway there from the boat. If I was Michelle, I'd be like, don't you think that those guys probably knew this before we left? Because it felt very random to suddenly just start yelling it at them in the middle of a conversation on the water.
It just reminds us of how, like, kind of nice these guys are, and that they have a good sort of soul inside that's like, oh, we're gonna do this old devious thing and not tell them they get on the boat, and they're just like, no, we just can't. Let's just tell them. Like, I really like them. It's so easy to root for them.
I kind of liked it when they were fighting with each other, if I'm going to be honest, because it was just like, it was bros bickering, and they were both like, D'Angelo was not having the humidity in Brazil.
No, I get it.
Like, he was so, I like cranky Amazing Race a lot of the time, because, like, they're tired, they're in weird locations, it's probably really, really hot there, let alone the humidity.
Yeah.
You're throwing all that stuff at them, and then, yeah, Michelle and Victoria that's got to be the worst thing when you watch it back, and it's like, oh, the clue we needed was actually right in front of us the whole time.
The whole time, yeah, no, I can't imagine how frustrating that is.
In the end, though, I did like Jerry and Frank a lot. It's a bummer to see them go. I mean, they got really emotional towards the end, and that, like, really choked me up a little bit.
I like that they were like, we're still gonna get through this. It doesn't matter if it's till the sun goes down. We're gonna stay here. We're gonna do it. We're in dead last. We are completing this task. And it kind of reminded me of the last season of Survivor, when they had that challenge over on the island, and Ethan was the last one going up and down, and everyone was like, yeah, we're all gonna do it with you. And he was like, I'm finishing this.
It's always a boss move, and I know.
Yeah, it is.
Like, I know sometimes Phil will go and eliminate people who aren't at the mat, and he doesn't want to.
You did there.
Yeah, well, eliminations happen on this show, and sometimes he does this when people are in the middle of the task because he doesn't want to sit around and wait for them anymore. But my feeling on it is that if someone is, like, giving up and they're just sitting somewhere, yeah, just go and send their you-know-whats home, Phil. I don't care. But if they're still trying, let them finish the leg and have that pride. Like, don't go and clown them with being like, oh, put your palm frond down or whatever else, because I'm sending you back home now.
Yeah.
I like the two of them. I like this episode. Fun leg. We'll continue to see where this season goes. We're going to another place seemingly next week.
Yep, I can't wait. This has been a great season so far. I love that there are so many teams that I'm rooting for, and I love that Will and James have become really cutthroat. This is making it super exciting.
No more alliances. Let's hope for no more alliances. Okay, what did you guys think about this episode? Do you think the right team win? Who are you rooting for? Share in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, give us a like, subscribe, and support us further. Check those links to the store, our Patreon, and we'll see you here next time.